Welcome, friends and fiends, to the Cryptique Podcast. My name's Kenny, and I'm here with my co-host, Godden. And together, we're here to watch and review every horrific, often hilarious episode of the legendary HBO anthology series, Tales from the Crypt. Godden, here we are to talk about one of our favorite shows, Tales from the Crypt. How are you?
Excited? Good, I'm doing good. I'm excited for this episode. How are you?
Yeah, me too. I'm doing well, and I'm also excited for this episode. The last couple of episodes we did, the last episode in particular, the last episode was good. The one before last was a little, and then the last episode was good, but it just wasn't quite Tales from the Crypt. So this is a good dive back into the Tales from the Crypt world. So, yeah. So definitely looking forward to talking about this one. Before we take another breath, Godden, before we talk about anything else, we've got to mention today this episode is coming out May 1st. So if you're watching this in real time, get yourself to Shudder and check out Tales from the Crypt streaming on Shudder. That's such a big deal. Now, you people at home, okay, are experiencing time travel right now because Godden and I are in the past. We're recording this about a week or so before you're watching this, which means you can go check this out on Shudder and then come back here to let us know what you think about it. So Godden, we're transmitting the thoughts into our brains from the future. Can you feel it?
I like that. I can feel it, yes. I can feel the influence.
Yeah, that's kind of a big deal in the Tales from the Crypt world. And I'm so thrilled because it's never been streaming before. So I'm so thrilled to just happened to have been part of this podcast experience while this is going on. So it's like there's a huge buzz in the community and we just happen to be part of it right now. So it's super exciting. So I'm also looking forward to checking out the Tales from the Crypt on Shudder. I hope it's in HD. You think it's in HD?
One can hope. I mean, I assume it's gonna be the same quality as the DVD Blu-rays. You know what I mean? Just now it's in streaming platform. I mean, how much more can they get unless they reshoot it or have the original tapes and somehow enhance it?
Yeah,
so we'll see.
They've enhanced things in the past, though. They might be able to enhance. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that they can enhance it. With that out of the way, we are not sponsored by Shudder, although we could be. Shudder, if you're listening, I don't mind.
That'd be cool.
I don't mind doing a little Shudder shout out every single podcast. So we're here today to talk about Season 4, Episode 10, Maniac at Large. It aired August 19th, 1992. Now, God, August 19th, that's my mother's birthday. Happy birthday, Mom.
This better be a good episode for
God, I hope she listens to this podcast. If she is, I need to tell her happy birthday, Mom. And it comes to us, by the way, from Crime Suspense Stories. So, I forgot that this was Crime Suspense Stories. Thinking back to this, it was kind of dark and gritty. And I did think it was maybe like a Tales from the Crypt or Vault of Horror episode. But it makes sense that it's Crime Suspense. All right. So as we dive into this episode, I just want to let everybody out there know we are not experts. We're just a couple of friends with a hobby to come on here once a week and just blab into our mics and just share our thoughts about the show. We invite you to do the same. If you think something differently or you notice something else, feel free to let us know in the comments and have be part of the discussion down there. Great people who are in our comments. If you haven't commented yet, don't be shy. We have a lot of really good people down there in the community. So feel free to share your ideas and thoughts. And this podcast is going to have tremendous spoilers. We're basically going to go through the episode beat by beat. So if you're not interested in being spoiled, then go watch the episode first on Shudder, okay? And then come back here and hear us go on about it. Godden, anything else that we need to say before we dive in?
No, I think we should get right into it. I'm excited. Let's not let the people wait. Let's give them what they want.
Let's just get into it, shall we? Let's see what the synopsis to this episode says on the inked in blood, bound in human flesh back of the DVD box set, shall we? This episode is called Maniac at Large. Here we are. 7 people have been slain. Who will be next? A mousy librarian frets over reports of a serial killer. That's all right.
Wait, that was it?
I'm telling you, the back of the DVD box set is awfully short, Godden. Thank goodness I doctored something up here. I have something that's a little longer than the back of the DVD box set. After learning about a serial killer on the loose in her hometown, local librarian Margaret grows increasingly weary of everyone she encounters. Regular library patrons, the security guard, even her own manager all seem overly suspicious. She becomes even more rattled when she sees someone with a knife in the basement, followed by someone banging on the doors after closing. Does she have what it takes to keep herself safe from the maniac at large?
Oh, like that. Good tie-in.
Yeah, I've been working a little harder to put the title of the episode in the synopsis. It's like fourth dimension, man. You know?
Like the meta, I agree.
All right. Well, so yeah, that was definitely longer than the back of the DVD box set. Godden, of course, thinks this is too long. Godden, what's something shorter than the back of the DVD box set?
Yeah, mine is pretty short and sweet. Mine is a simple case of murder or self-defense.
Murder or self-defense. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always like yours, Godden. You're very you're very good at just boiling the episode down to the essence of just what is it? What's the point? Right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Crypt Keeper intro. He says he's kind of like a real estate agent. He even has like a suit on with like a briefcase. He says, "City life got you down, kiddies. Looking for a home on Derange? Well, look no further because I've got exactly what you want. It's a charming tomb with a view. Think of it as your own little house on the scary. You're not interested? What's the matter? Afraid you can't get a mortgage? Oh well, that's exactly how the woman in tonight's tortured tale feels. She's upset because there's a killer on the loose in her neighborhood, in a putrid property I call Maniac at Large." I guess this is kind of an interesting opening panel or opening segment from the Crypt Keeper. He's playing the real estate agent. It would have made more sense if maybe the episode had something to do with maybe buying property or something like that. But wasn't it a couple of episodes ago where he was like reading a book? Oh, it's a play one. He was reading a play. I guess this, I don't know. I feel like I feel like he a little bit missed the mark on this one.
Yeah, I know what you mean. There has been a handful of episodes where his intros do tie in with the episode, but lately we've been getting a lot of side quests from the Crypt Keeper. Like this time he's a travel agent. I don't mind. I do like when it has something to do with the episode, but maybe that is kind of hard to always hit on the nose. So they're better off just doing goofy and random stuff. Then it's like a mini episode every time. You know, it's like, oh, what is he up to this time?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I like how he said side quests. He's on a side quest. He's doing something else right now. Well, that brings us to the opening panel, which is a woman who's absolutely terrified, and behind her through a window, it looks like there's someone holding a knife. So it's pretty basic. That's a really basic episode, or excuse me, a really basic opening panel to a fairly basic episode. What do you think of the opening panel?
I really like this opening panel. The colors really pop in this one. I don't think we've had a lot of pink in the past with the blue and yellow like highlights for it, but it's really. I mean, it's so simple. It's like, oh no, there's someone at the door with a knife. You know, like she's panicking. It's just that's kind of how the episode's going, and it's funny because when this scene played, it was so loud. I wasn't expecting how loud it was, but yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, and it did. The alarm did kind of come out of nowhere. I just
Yeah.
I just laugh at the way she's like holding her hands up. She's like just like doing a
Oh
weird
yeah,
like
yeah.
yeah, I think she's I don't know. That's what I just noticed that right away every time I look at the picture. I'm like, what is she doing with her hands? All right. Well, the opening scene is like a mural, and it's like a city mural, and there's a little saying on the bottom, "Knowledge is power," which I thought was a really poignant thing to have be the opening shot, especially when we're inside of a library, which of course is known for being, very a place to get knowledge. So yeah, knowledge is power. Although I'm going to try to bring it up again throughout the rest of the episode. I did have kind of a hard time tying it into the rest of the episode because it was so profound in the beginning with the knowledge is power theme. And I really was kind of almost dwelling on it throughout the whole episode. And I just kind of had a hard time relating it to the episode as a whole. So hopefully I can kind of, we'll keep that discussion going, and maybe we can kind of figure that out together, Godden. Now, after this opening, the camera does kind of pan around the library and you kind of meet some people. And there was a man there who he was wearing glasses, but I'm describing him as the spectacled man just because I don't know, I guess there's no real difference between spectacles and glasses other than the image it creates in my head. And this man in my head appeared to be wearing not glasses, but spectacles. I know there's no difference, but in my head, that's what I saw. A spectacled man. You know who I'm talking about? This kind of dorky, kind of a weird guy.
The only spectacled man there that stays for the whole episode.
The only spectacled man in the episode. Yeah, he was wearing spectacles. He wasn't wearing glasses. Anyway, so he was kind of doing some research there, and a priest walked by and kind of gave him like a weird look and then walked away. So I thought, okay, like this man was clearly the red herring, right? Like even the priest kind of took a double take at this man, I noticed. So anyway, the camera finally settles down on these like hoodlums. This like group of hoodlums are kind of just being annoying at in the library, and the library manager goes over and sees that they had written, what did they write on the homies? They wrote homies on the desk, and she asks them, "You need to rub that out." And of course, they laugh at her for saying that. And Margaret, no, the manager kicks those kids out, and Margaret comes over to actually erase the graffiti. And when she does, she notices that one of the boys left their pocket knife there, and she actually I like the symbolism here, by the way. She takes the pocket knife. She doesn't really want to hold it. She puts it down on top of the newspaper, and she stares at it for a while, and then she finally takes it and sneaks it into her pocket. But the spectacled man noticed and kind of smirked. So again, it reinforces that, this guy may be evil or in some way, and maybe he approves of her having this knife. I also found it kind of interesting that she had the knife on top of the newspaper, a newspaper being something you read for knowledge, and the knife being a weapon that you use for power. So we had knowledge and power together. So I'm really gelling with this knowledge is power theme going on here, right? So far, I kind of gets lost on me a little bit later, but that's kind of what I thought about this so far. Godden, what do you think about this whole opening sequence?
Yeah, there's actually a couple of takes you pointed out that kind of made me think more about it, because I actually did not notice the knowledge is power in the beginning, but now that you mentioned that the knife, well, the stiletto was sitting on top of the newspaper, in the beginning the hoodlum stabs the newspaper, in the beginning, like rips that paper. So maybe that does tie in a little bit with maybe power overcomes knowledge or in some form or fashion, because that's how it starts off. But I liked how the pacing and the setting and the tone, like the overall atmosphere. I enjoyed how that was slowly just showcasing in this episode. because I instantly got like, oh, it's gonna be a thriller. This is gonna be like a lot of like thriller, kind of genre. And it's funny because when the main librarian, like the head librarian, Miss Pritchard, when she went to the desk and she was talking to the hoodlums, she said something along the lines of, "I can't believe you're acting like you're in school." But it's like, well, if you expect people to kind of degrade tables or anything like that in a place of education, a library is another place of education that would realistically be treated the same way. So I'm surprised that she was surprised. You know what I mean? Like clearly, like there's a similarity between the two, areas. But yeah, I thought it was kind of odd when she was cleaning up and after the whole like hoodlum encounter with the knife specifically, because you're right, she does stare at it for a moment, but like how like quick and somewhat, I'm saying it loosely, like vicious, like she grabs like the knife, right, and stuffs it in her pocket. I don't know if she was like a kleptomaniac for a moment, but I don't know what to think of it. Like something about it was strange, like she grabbed it so quick after staring at it for a moment. So I did like when the spectacled man did give a smirk, because then I did want to see how the chemistry of the characters unfold from this point forward.
Yeah, when she was, because she didn't put it right into her pocket, the knife. She stared at it for a little bit, almost as if it was like either the knife was compelling her to grab it, or she was like, maybe she was, I don't know. It was interesting though, the way that she kind of, she had to build herself up to finally grab it. Like almost either she was trying to build herself up to get it, or she succumbed to it and grabbed it. I don't know. Maybe we're reading too much into that scene, but yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, it was.
So the next scene were with Margaret and the security guard, and they're kind of talking back and forth, and they're kind of gossiping, to be honest with you. The security guard is basically complaining about the boss. Now I have the boss down as Miss Bridget. What did you call her?
Pritchard. It's on her doorway. It's
like Miss Pritchard. Okay, I kept hearing it as Miss Bridget. Okay, Miss Pritchard. So he was basically saying, look, Miss Pritchard, she's going to have us work overtime tonight. I don't like that. And I really wish that she would, they're just kind of gossiping back and forth. And at that point, I think Miss Pritchard calls her up to her office. So Margaret goes up to her office, and that's where she basically tells her, yeah, we're doing inventory tonight. You got to help me stay. And I don't appreciate you basically talking out in the library. If you want to talk, come in here and talk, and don't talk out there. Basically, don't be too loud. So Miss Pritchard is like a typical like overbearing librarian, right? Be quiet, follow the rules, don't be bothersome or whatever. So Miss Pritchard was worried about having other people talk where she couldn't hear them. She wants people to talk in her room. She wants that knowledge. She wants to know what other people are thinking. She wants to know the gossip between other people. So she wants that knowledge. So she definitely seeks that power and wants to squelch anybody else gossiping without her hearing it, because she also wants to know what's going on. So yeah, that's interesting as well. So I didn't notice that until we were talking about it right now. Anything you want to add or talk about with this scene in the here in the office?
Not much. It was a pretty brief scene, realistically. But I do like that line. She says, like, in here we talk, out there you're mice. So, but yeah, I mean, it was interesting that she's portrayed as a tough boss. Like she's super ironclad with all the rules, and the fact that she already approved the overtime before talking to Margaret and Grady about them staying overnight. So she's already painted in a bad picture for us. We don't really care about her as much. I didn't care about her as much from this point.
Oh,
but
right.
like I said, all the characters here are pretty well written. Like I enjoy all the characters. It's like a game of Clue.
I loved it for that exact reason. I like meeting each character one by one, and then kind of having each one have like each one became a red herring, right? Each one kind of had their own reasons why they could be the one. So the next scene, basically she's closing up. she's kind of putting some books back on the shelf, and that's where we get to meet the spectacled man more. So he actually shows up and he wants to check out the book called Alone with the Devil, which of course he would have this book. Of course, the spectacled man who the priest had given a double take at and who smirked when she took the knife. Of course, he's going to want Alone with the Devil. So he comes up and talks to her while she's trying to put books away. And he basically starts theorizing about this serial killer and starts saying, if only the police would read this book, they might understand more. So far, the serial killer has only killed men. I suspect his next victim's going to be a woman, which he says to a woman, of course, making her even more nervous. So,
Right.
What did you think about this introduction of the spectacled man?
It's just one of those really intense nerds for the genre he's in. Like he really loves learning about all like these serial killers and maniacs, at large. But he, every time we kind of meet this character, I didn't want to believe it could be him, right? It's too obvious it's not him because the way he's coming off as. But of course, that 1% since the back of my like, but what if it's still him? Like that'd be cool if they just committed with him just being the bad guy. But I do like each line he has. You always want to believe that he is the killer because just how like enamored he is with the art of being a serial killer, like how they think. It is an interesting subject, right? Because it's a different world for them. So he was definitely creepy.
Yeah. And of course, he is reading a book about the serial killer to gain knowledge of the serial killer. And he also wants the police to read the book and to do more investigation into it. And so, yeah, again, knowledge is power theme kind of going on there. I'm actually getting more out of this one than I thought of it the first time. So at this point, the Miss Pritchard, what?
Yeah, Pritchard.
Yeah,
Pritchard.
Miss Pritchard asks her to go put something in the basement. So she grabs she basically takes some stuff down into the basement. She is kind of alone in this dark area, and she sees it looks like an arm holding a knife. You don't see who it belongs to, but you see someone holding a knife and stabbing at something. She goes and gets the security guard, and he comes down to look, and he kind of looks around, and then they together find his booze. He hides booze down there. So he starts drinking. And while he's drinking it, did he legit try to seduce her, or was he, I don't know what he was doing, but he did kind of like put his hand towards her hand, and she kind of pulled away and then kind of ran away. So, at this point, also the security guard is starting to look a little suspicious. Did you think anything about this basement scene?
I mean, yeah, it was like another thriller moment, right? We don't know if the maniac is in the library with them, but I didn't quite understand the book stabbing moment. Was it supposed to be like, oh, did they get somebody, or were they just vandalizing, or was it the security guard doing that to get his booze? Like somehow he hid it in a book or something, or like in a shelf. But it was unfortunate when Grady kind of became that character from him, because he's supposed to be like our knight in shining armor. He's supposed to be the security guy that to make them safe. But then for him to like make an advance like that, well, it's like, well, you're not trustworthy anymore. You can't blame being under the influence. I mean, you are doing at work, but still, you can't blame that at that point. So he's a lost cause in our books. Like we shouldn't really depend on him.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and you do find out that they stabbed a book because she goes up to the office, and at this point, there's a detective in there, and she basically says there's somebody down there with a knife, and the detective and everybody goes back down into the basement, and that's where they find what has been stabbed, and it's like some sort of like a nudie book or something. It was like a weird nudist book it didn't seem to me like pornographic. It was just they were just like naked models. But they were all stabbed. That was weird to me. After this scene, also, Bridget kind of, I guess, tattles on the security guard. Basically says, he was drinking, and that, causes Miss Pritchard to, I guess, scold him. And does she send him home? Is that what happens? Does she send him, like, she like fire him or send him home? I'm not quite sure what happened from there. Did you catch that?
Most likely, I want to say yes, because she is an ironclad, supervisor boss. So she's, by the books. I want to say, yeah, she probably did do that, or straight up fired him. But, just to go along what you mentioned with the nudie book, maybe it's just backing up what the spectacled man said, where the next victim is a woman. So maybe it was like a target practice, So maybe it's just lining up with that narrative.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I like that. So then I guess this is where, okay, because the finale of the episode doesn't quite hold a lot of water for me. And this is where, when thinking back to the episode and thinking about these types of events, this is where it starts to get a little murky with me. So just put a pin in this for now. We'll come back to it eventually. But this whole stabbing of the book is a little strange to me, because it doesn't. I don't think it fits with the end. So
I see.
So this next, at this point, they're finally shutting down, and everybody's gone. The security guard is fired, right? Or seems so. So he's gone. The detective's gone. And even Miss Pritchard leaves. She goes to get basically dinner, right? She goes to get some snacks. So she's gone too. And that's where you realize the spectacled man is still there. He never left. So he actually comes up to Margaret and basically shows him something he found in the book. He says, "This is John Reginald Halliday Christie. He was a murderer, but nobody knew. He didn't look like a murderer. He just looked like a regular guy in a trench coat and glasses," basically describing exactly what he looks like. So again, like putting himself under even more of a microscope, and like he just really romanticizing murder. Like, just, can you imagine what it would feel like to strangle or to slice someone's throat, to feel their breath on you as you kill them? Like, he's really just going crazy on it. And she basically says, "Look, you got to go. We're closed." And then we have this whole like double entendre thing going on where he's like, "Oh, can you hold on to this book? I'll get it when I come back." And she's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Tomorrow. I'll come back tomorrow for the book." And then he starts to leave, and he says, "Oh, I'm not going anywhere." And she's like, "What? What do you mean?" And he's like, "The door's locked. I can't get out the door." So she finally unlocks the door, lets him out, closes the door. So now she's by herself, right? She's in the library by herself. And that's where she turns and she sees again that newspaper heading, "Maniac at Large." She starts to get paranoid. Someone starts banging at the front door. She freaks out. She kind of runs away. And then someone starts banging on the back door where the exit, the emergency exit. So she runs back there, and then the alarm starts going off. So she's in there freaking out. There's banging on both sides of the doors. And finally the alarm goes off, and that's where Miss Pritchard comes in and basically says, "Oh, look, the man banging at the front door, that was just Mr. Garvin. He was dropping off some books." What did you think about this whole kind of scene where Bridget was left by herself and then had all the stuff going on?
Margaret, yeah. I
did I say it wrong?
It was like, you said Bridget.
Gosh darn it.
I think you mixed
all the names all mixed up. Sorry.
I mean, there's a handful of characters, but I mean, it was interesting to kind of keep pushing that stress onto our character, well, onto us too, because like I said, it's like a thriller, right? So we were waiting for something to happen. We're waiting for that like release of tension. So each second just getting worse for her. She reads a newspaper, it says Maniac at Large. She's reminded like this is like a peak time, like murder would happen, and the spectacle man's not helping with him just sharing his interest, his deep interest for this kind of topic, and just like the way he is just like you said, it's like a double entendre at the moment where I'll see you later, or I'm dropping these books off, you can hold them for me, and like, oh, I can't leave, like I'm because at any point he could just pull out a knife, right, or whatever the Maniac was going to use. Really,
right, at one point he does. He acts like he's like slices her throat really fast. He acts like he's going to. So that's even like a little jump scare with him.
So quick.
He's just such a weirdo.
I thought it was I thought it was happening right then and there. I was like, oh wow, maybe it is him. Uh, and then the banging, like the Mr. Garvin, it looked like he was asking for. I thought at that moment we're gonna see him get murdered right outside, right? And there's gonna be a whole cat and mouse situation where she's running around, fending for herself, stopping the break-in. But I mean, I was really, I guess, hoping and waiting for that, but that never happened. And then there was that one big little like paddle on the door that triggered the alarm, and that was just so blaring. That was really really loud. I wasn't expecting it to be really loud, which tied in with the opening panel. So that was nice to see the opening panel as that scene.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just so high and intense for her that it's just funny that Miss Pritchard just comes in like, oh yeah, that was so and so. Just drop off the books. Like, well, just calm down. It's okay. I just went to get food. Like, come down, relax. Come to my office. Let's talk. Like just take a breather.
Yeah, I would have liked when the old man was banging at the door. If something did happen to him, somebody came and took him away.
Yeah.
Or someone came and stabbed him. That would have been a good spot in the episode for it to turn into like a kind of a traditional slasher. I would have enjoyed that. But it just ended up going kind of in a weird way. Not bad, but just kind of weird. So when Miss Pritchard comes back, she also admits to having turned the phone off because Margaret couldn't use the phone. So Margaret starts to get even more suspicious, like, well, oh, you turned the phone off? And she says, yeah, I don't want people talking on the phone at work, so I just turn it off. So she says, come up to my office. So they go up to the office, and then again, Miss Pritchard, making herself seem more suspicious, says, I don't know who this killer is, but everybody seems to think it's a man. It can also be a woman. So then you think, oh crap, is it Miss Pritchard? Like, is that what's going on? Because she does have that mentality, like, everybody needs to be quiet in the library, and you can see her kind of snapping to kind of, maybe kill people who are too loud in the library or something like that. So that's where Margaret just becomes like overwhelmingly paranoid that it's her. She's the killer. And so she takes that knife that she took in the earlier in the episode, power over knowledge, and just starts stabbing Miss Pritchard. And so that all happens. And then who was it who came in to see her? Was it the security guard?
It was Grady, yeah.
So maybe the security guard wasn't fired. Maybe he was just kind of like sent home, but he came back. I don't know. He does come back, and then he comes back to see the scene of basically Miss Pritchard dead in the chair, and then standing beside her is Margaret. And Margaret says, well, I guess I have to resign and move on again. I like it here, but the city made me nervous. So much crime. I don't like being afraid all the time. I'm sorry I'm giving such short notice. I hope you won't think badly of me. So, yeah, we're supposed to assume, I don't know, like, it just made it seem like, yeah, she was a killer the whole time, and she was just killing people because she was nervous. That's what it seemed like to me. But what do you think before I get into my thoughts? What do you think about this ending?
I like this ending a lot, where maybe this whole entire time she was just in her own state of delusion, right? Maybe she didn't see someone stab the books. Maybe it was her stabbing the books, having like a little fit of rage. Maybe she really didn't see Grady drink. Maybe that was actually just her like thinking he made a move on her, because he does come back. Like it gives a lot of what ifs in her perspective, like, and it kind of makes a lot of sense when she aggressively grabbed that knife in the beginning, because that was really, really odd for her to do that. And it's unfortunate. Like, I'm not sure if all these characters were just always up in her face when they were kind of scaring her, which made, ended up pushing to that breaking point to actually, like, fend for herself. But I do like that, where she's not killing consciously. Like, she's killing to defend herself this whole entire time. And because she's saying the wrong, the wrong knowledge, the wrong idea, she really did think she was under threat. So she kind of acted out, unfortunately. And then I guess when she killed her boss, Miss Pritchard, it's like it flipped to that other psyche, right? Like who's this other person? Like just back to being normal again. Like it's like she was able to release all that tension and stress after killing, and then she's able just to be calm, because at the end, right, she was just like, oh, I guess I'm resigning, time to find a new job, blah blah blah. Like she sounds hopeful still. So I mean, this one time she's been escaping, eluding the police,
Yeah.
and Mr. Spectacled Man was right. It was another woman. I mean, it was a woman who gets murdered this time, but we thought it was gonna be the main character. So I like how it kind of tied in. You know, there's little subtle details I was throwing around.
Yeah. I got what they were going with the ending, or going for with the ending. I definitely got it. I didn't completely buy it. I don't think they totally sold it. I think they didn't quite sell it completely. Like, who did she see with the knife stabbing something downstairs? If it was her doing it, they needed to have an extra scene in there somewhere. Maybe a flashback scene in the office at the end of her actually doing those things. Who was banging on the back door? Was there anybody banging at the back door? Is that, I don't like, there were too many unanswered questions. There was too much like doors left open for alternative endings. I almost got the impression, like I almost thought, was she the actual killer, or was she like somebody who like is in addition to all the killing that's happening? I don't know.
Oh, I see.
I feel like it's a little too open-ended. They didn't quite tie it up with a big enough bow. You know what I mean? Like there's just too much. There's too much alsos going on that I guess the ending, even though I see what they were going for, I don't think they quite really stuck the landing. I think it's a little bit too ambiguous for me.
I actually like that, where maybe it was just the heightened tension from the killers on the paper, and then she just added on to it. I do like that other narrative, but maybe her hearing about the talks and seeing the newspaper, and she was getting more rattled. Maybe it's like in the back of her mind, like she knows she did it, but couldn't like live with the guilt, right? Because it's like there's no way I did it. There's no way I did it. So maybe that's a haunting her a little bit, but maybe that you could be right. Maybe she just added onto the killing because she got distressed. Just got to her. So I do like that.
Well, I guess to go back to the theme of knowledge and power, I guess she exemplifies power, right? She used that knife. She used that symbol of power. But maybe she's lacking knowledge. Maybe she doesn't know that she's the killer. She doesn't know that she is the murderer. She sees herself as the victim. I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of grasping at straws. I just don't feel like, I think this is a good example of an episode where like Tales from the Crypt are half-hour episodes. Maybe some of them should be an hour long. Maybe this one needed 2 or 3 more scenes to really dive into what the heck that it is they were going for, because I don't feel like they really were able to film the full story that they really wanted to tell. It just feels like we're watching like an abridged version of it or something. I don't know. I liked it though. I did like it.
I do like it. It's fun. You should definitely watch it. Let's watch it again. Let's watch it again right now.
Well, we're not going to watch it again right now. You can watch it again right now on Shudder. Well, that brings us back out to the Crypt Keeper, who says, well, kiddies, I guess that's knife in the big city for you. Boy, do I feel sorry for Margaret. Looks like it's just one dead-end job after another. You'll be happy to know that I made a sale. The negotiations were fierce, but after I threw in a couple of acres, I almost said archers, the rest was easy. There goes the neighborhood. So stupid, the Crypt Keeper. Well, any last thoughts about the Crypt Keeper outro?
Like this intro and outro, I enjoyed a lot. There's a lot more puns that go. I guess when he comes in, whether it's about the episode or not, whatever he's doing, I like when his puns and his alliterations, like it's so in theme with what he's doing. I love it. So there was a lot to work with here with the morgue edge and then like the neighborhood. Like it's just fun. I enjoy it.
I did like the neighborhood. I even like the way he delivered it. There goes the neighborhood. I was like, well, for when it comes to like relating this to other things, the whole idea of a woman being paranoid that someone's out to get her and kind of sees everybody else as being out to get her. I did get the Terminator vibes in the original Terminator when Sarah Connor is, the phone book killers, and she's the next in line. So she's of course paranoid. So when she sees everybody, she becomes paranoid. So I did kind of get that vibe. And then there's the idea of like the main character unknowingly being the villain. Like I don't think Margaret knew she was maybe she did, but I just got the vibe that she didn't know that she was the problem. And that makes me think of High Tension. Have you seen High Tension?
Just a trailer.
Oh my gosh.
I should watch it though.
It's pretty good, but this woman is, in her mind, she's being terrorized by some crazy lunatic, but it turns out she's like multiple personality. She's the one doing it all, so that was kind of fun. I always like the others. I think I've brought that up a couple of other times before, but it's a ghost story where they think the house is haunted, so they do some investigation, and it turns out they are the ghosts, and who they think are haunting them are the humans who live there. So I like that twist. That's always a good one.
Yeah.
Shutter Island. Remember that one was with DiCaprio, where he was brought to the island to do some investigation, and it turns out that he's just a crazy person on the island who they made this whole charade for to kind of give him something to do or something like that.
Yeah.
There's American Psycho, which is like the opposite of this, where you think he's the killer and he thinks he's the killer, but in reality he's just delusional and thinks he's killing people. So can you think of any other shows or movies that do something like that?
Yeah, one definitely comes to mind, and Memento. That's a good one.
That's a Christopher Nolan movie, right? I don't think I've seen that actually.
Yeah, so he has amnesia, and the only way he can recollect his thoughts are these Polaroids, and with a Sharpie on them. And he tries to investigate these clues and these pictures and stuff, but turns out he's just killing innocent people, playing his own game, trying to justify what he's doing. Like he's like, well, like someone killed my wife, blah blah blah. I need to know who did it, and these are all the clues I have. And it just keeps going and going because he has amnesia. He doesn't know what direction's going, so he's just giving himself this endless chase, and he's actually just the killer this whole entire time. So it's kind of sad. But
okay, well, as far as rating the episode, I do like this episode. The ending, I feel the last like couple minutes, I feel they could have done more to either spice it up or make it more lucid of an ending. So I think I'm gonna go 4.25. I'm gonna go 4.25 spectacles.
Yeah, I actually didn't expect you to give it 4.25. I don't know why. I felt like you can give it like something lower than 4.
I did like it. It's just I kind of went on a long tirade about my thoughts about the ending. I guess I'm having a hard time expressing my thoughts succinctly about the ending. It's just, it didn't sit right with me. I don't think it's finished. I think it needed maybe like 10 or 15 minutes left in the oven to really bring it top tier, but it was a little bit too ambiguous, a little too woo-woo at the end.
How cool would it be if maybe she was pretending to be innocent and she is a killer, and then the last second the hoodlums save Miss Pritchard?
Yeah.
Like, she stole my knife. I knew I left it in the library. Oh my god, she's gonna kill her.
Yeah. I love that. Damn it. I thought I got rid of you rascals or something. Yeah, that would have been really good. Yeah, if they made it more lucid like that. But it was just unclear to me if she really was. I get that they were trying to make her be the real killer. I get that that's what the angle they were going for. I just didn't buy it. I feel like we need one more, like, also this. Like, we need like one more piece to really settle it for me.
I see. Since you gave it 4.25 spectacle glasses, mine's a pretty basic one. I do give it 4 stab wounds. Just plain and simple.
Wow, I like that more than you. Like I said. Wow.
That's what I was surprised you gave the extra quarter, because it's not out there. I don't think it's 4.5. I think there was a lot of red herrings to kind of help them get to what they want to, but it's like you said, there's something missing. There's something quite not there that they could have used or had a potential for to make it a stronger fit. But it's still a good episode. I definitely recommend it.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, let's move on to horror respondents. So we have some people who responded to our podcast Showdown, which is the most recent one to go live since the recording of this episode. Iron Sabbath comes through. Howdy, partners. Yeah, it's an out of place episode. It starts off pretty fun, but by the end it falls flat. I really don't like the ending where they go back to the present time and it's a gift shop. Just took me out of the entire episode. If you're going to make it a supernatural ghost story in the Old West, why not just keep it set in the Old West? Ugh, whatever. He gives it 2 out of 5 tumbleweeds. The Jemirian comes through, who, by the way, I just found out that the Jemirian is actually Jimmy Ryan. I feel so stupid. I've been calling him the Jemirian since he first commented. But I got actual permission from Jimmy Ryan himself to continue with Jemirian. So he will always be Jemirian to me because that's how I first saw him. And I kind of like that name, Jemirian. So
yeah, it does.
Not that Jimmy Ryan's a bad name, but Jemirian is also fun. So Jemirian also writes in regarding Showdown. I could not disagree with y'all anymore. Perhaps we should have a showdown. I really enjoyed this episode. Perhaps it's because I saw it within a year that it came out. At that time, The Sixth Sense and the others were years away. So this is the very first time I encountered a he was dead the whole time plot line. I love this, by the way. I love that we have differing opinions. So I'm really enjoying getting the Jemirian's perspective here. He says the concept that Billy was haunting the place and having no idea he was dead was new to me, and I found it very cool. If you remember, the guide told the children that if they listened closely, they could hear Billy's ghost. We literally see him crying out in the empty room. I imagine he had been doing that for decades, and people in the present world would hear him as a ghost. So yeah, I like that perspective. I like that you have that angle to watch this episode with, to enjoy it. Yeah, that sounds very cool to me. He gives it 4 tonics. Joseph Hill comes through, also about the Showdown. He says, while it may fit a little more as a Crypt episode than Yellow because of the supernatural elements, it kind of falls flat. I'm not a huge Western fan, but it does have somewhat of an interesting premise. Just wasn't quite executed. The opening panel is misleading as well, aside from the fact that the art looks nothing like the actor. I think you brought that up. It leads you to believe that he's in a battle of survival with zombies or ghouls. I think that could have been a lot more fun and entertaining. Had he escaped the law only to stumble into the town of reanimated corpses? He gives it 2 fisted tails out of 5. That's clever.
I like that. That's clever, yeah.
Ash Bunnykins comes through. The artwork panel for this episode is very misleading. Another one who agrees with this. I think that the episode has some interesting ideas, but definitely doesn't have that Tales from the Crypt flair that I come to expect. Too bad it had to follow What's Cookin' and The New Arrival, which are 2 of the stronger episodes of season 4. Yeah, that's a good point too. It did come off of a couple really good episodes. I think that what I wanted more is maybe a Western zombie shootout. Like maybe the main character won all of his duels by cheating somehow, and the people he killed came back. That's a good idea. That's a pretty good idea. He gives it 2 out of 5 jangling spurs. All right. Well, thanks to everybody who commented. And if you're still watching at this point, I want you to comment below. Do you even go to the library anymore? Who goes to libraries now?
Me?
Me? You said me?
I thought you were asking me for a second. I didn't know you were making a comment for them.
Oh, do you go to libraries still?
Not as often, but I mean, the last time I went to a library was about a month and a half ago. I go like a handful of times a year, usually.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
When I was in college, I would go to the library downtown to do studying. And I think a little bit. No, I don't really. Every once in a while, no, I don't. I'm trying to. I think in the past I did, not to get books. I think I got DVDs and maybe some like audiobooks, like CDs. But I got to be honest with you, I never find a reason to go into a library anymore.
Does Barnes and Noble count? Not really.
No.
Right?
No. Is that what you meant?
No. I've been to actual libraries. I was just wondering if Barnes and Noble's
Okay.
counted as like if someone were to say something.
What do you get at the library?
Funny enough, it's like use their printers or something like that, or just look around what's a fun book to borrow.
Yeah, if I'm interested in a book, I'll go to Barnes and Noble and I'll sit down and I'll read like a chapter of it, and if I like it, I'll buy it.
I see.
Although you know what, I think they do have audiobooks online, like you can download them or like have them for a little bit. That might be a good idea. Anyway,
That does make sense. Yeah.
let us know if you go to libraries still in 2026. All right. Well, let's also shine the light out back to the horror community. If you are interested in this podcast discussion format of a beloved horror TV show like Tales from the Crypt, check out the links in our description. I have plenty of other channels and podcasts that we think you might enjoy. Creeps of the Crypt. Oh, by the way, with Creeps of the Crypt, Godden, we were on that show, Creeps of the Crypt.
Were we now? Were we?
You'll have to take my word for it. Yeah. So go to Creeps of the Crypt and check out their latest upload. If I think they're putting it out May 1st. If today's May 1st. So go to Creeps of the Crypt, check out their episode for well, I won't tell you what the episode is just in case that they don't have it out yet. But yeah, expect us to be on their podcast. So yeah, we were guests on their podcast. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, go through and check that out. And what else do I have to say? Do I have anything else to say? I don't think so. Oh, there's us. Cryptique. Tales from the Crypt podcast. My name's Kenny. And if you'd like more of me, you can find that at 2 Bad About Kenny. That's the number 2, as well as TOO Bad About Kenny. Find me on YouTube, reviewing books and movies. You can find me on Twitch, playing games. Godden, how about you?
Well, you can find me. Well, I haven't been streaming as much, but occasionally streaming loosely at Twitch under UAPPO6 and Cryptikers as our Twitter handle.
Thank you so much. Godden, this has been a great episode. This was a good episode. I feel like I'm complaining too much. It's fine. The episode's fine. Episode's fine. It's a good episode. It's just I really wish the ending was better. That's all.
Go watch it.
Go watch it, everybody, on Shudder. Okay.
On Shudder. Yeah.
All right. Until next week, we here at the Cryptique Podcast wish you all sweet nightmares.
Well, how was that for a scream, boys and ghouls?